This is an ABP Live Podcast.
Well, hello ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls. This is a brand new episode. I'm Aabir Lahiry. You are watching Cracking Conversation, and joining me today in conversation is Ruchita Misra. You are Misra or Misra?
Misra.
Misra. With a new book, Her One True Love. Welcome.
Thank you, Aabir. My pleasure to be here.
क्या है ये कहानी, क्योंकि बहुत ही प्यारा इसका कवर है.
So the story is about love.
Okay.
Obviously.
Of course.
But it's the old kind of love.
Okay.
The slow kind of love.
Okay.
It is about two women, different generations,
Okay.
different parts of the world, different situations. And दोनों को, sometimes the universe presents this one big love to you.
Hmm.
The time may or may not be right.
Okay.
And when that problem comes up, तो आप choices आपके सामने आ जाती हैं. And your choices make the person. And sometimes with women, choices can be very dictated by society. उसमें आप क्या करना चाहते हो और क्या actually करते हो, किस चीज़ को करने की हिम्मत आती है. So all of these are very complicated things. And
Okay.
the decisions women make impact not just their immediate family, but also has a generational impact almost.
True.
So it just explores all of that. The book is about an extramarital affair.
Okay.
The book is set in London. It's
Okay.
about a girl called Ekadashi Joshi who's been living in London for 15 years. 7
Ekadashi
years.
Joshi, what a nice name.
Do you know, it's very interesting. So my mom is called Rachna, but
Okay.
before she was named Rachna, उनका नाम मेरी नानी Ekadashi रखना चाहती थी because she was born on the day of Ekadashi. 11th day. So this character is born on the 11th day.
What a beautiful name,
And
यार.
it's called Ekadashi.
पहली बार मैंने एकादशी सुना है. वाह, क्या बात है. कितना अच्छा.
I mean, if I had a daughter, I would have probably called her Ekadashi.
Ekadashi.
So she's called Eka for short.
Okay.
तो वो लंदन में रहती है and then she meets this guy who is British
Okay.
and for my own pleasure, very handsome, super rich, UK's most legible bachelor.
Okay.
So ये मिलते हैं, right?
ठीक है.
And they come from very different worlds.
Okay.
And immediate connection.
Okay.
But she's married
Okay.
and he is dating an American actress.
Okay. Wow.
So, अब क्या, right? And the ups and downs that happen. So that is one theme. Now, जैसे extramarital affair, immediately आप बोलोगे उसको cheating बोलते हैं, right? So it has a very negative connotation to it, and I'm not condoning it. I'm not saying anything about it. But in this story, I've showed you. It might be an extramarital affair. That's the label, but actually, it's true love.
True love.
You found the right person. Society उसको label ठीक नहीं देगी, but you can now see the story from Ekadashi's point of view and Frederick's point of view. So you get
Okay.
the whole picture. Like आप immediately नहीं बोल सकते कि अरे ये तो उसने बहुत गलत करा. So that's one thing.
And what happens to the other girl?
Right. So the other thing is finding love at a later stage in life.
Okay. These are two separate stories.
No, intertwined.
Oh.
Yeah. The other girl is Ekadashi's mom.
Oh.
Yeah.
Wow.
So, so then you and the reason that I put that bit there is जब मेरी fourth book का launch हो रहा था, which was happening in Lucknow.
Lucknow.
There was a gentleman, a journalist
Okay.
in Lucknow in the book launch who said to me कि आप हमेशा young people की love story लिखती हैं. Don't you think older people deserve love? And I was like,
बिल्कुल
Point
सही.
तो सही बात है.
Bang on. बिल्कुल
Yeah.
सही point है.
so I actually invited him, especially to my book launch this time. I was like, you will give me my idea for the next book, so please come.
क्या बात है.
So anyway, so उन्होंने मुझसे ये बात बोली, and that stayed in my mind. And this book took me about 5-6 years to actually get. It took me a long time to get this book out. And I was, and I feel like as we get older in life, that's when the kids have gone, up probably you've retired. That is the time you need a companion most.
True.
So if you can find love, companionship
Yeah.
at that stage, तो वो तो बहुत ज़रूरी है.
बिल्कुल जरूरी है.
So that is the other thing that the book explores.
Very interesting plot. इसमें तो एक मतलब full power एक Netflix की movie बन सकती
Oh
है.
yes, definitely. And what I love best about writing is introducing a British man to the Indian culture.
Sure.
So like वो जलेबी नहीं बोल पाता है, वो जबेली बोलता है. So
बिल्कुल सही. ऐसा ही होता है.
ऐसे ही होता है. So they celebrate Holi together. She gets him to gate crash an Indian wedding. So
That's very essential. I guess. वो नहीं किया तो आप इंडियन नहीं हो. मतलब एक आध बार शादी में पीछे से कन्नी मार के जाना बहुत जरूरी
होता है.
बहुत जरूरी होता है.
Yeah.
How is Lucknow? Like you were born and raised in Lucknow.
Yeah.
I'm correct, right? You were born and raised
Yes,
in Lucknow.
yes.
How, like, what kind of an impact that city has given into your writing?
So I think Lucknow is. I grew up in Lucknow. Yeah, my one true love. I grew up in Lucknow, Aabir, and I left Lucknow at the age of 23 to do my MBA in Delhi. So I came here.
Okay.
And I think I live in London now. I've been living there for about 13-14 years now.
Okay.
I travel across the globe.
Okay.
And I do not very adventurous traveling, but reasonably, I'll go in the Arctic Circle and this and that and all of that.
इसको reasonable तो नहीं बोलते हैं, मतलब thank you for being humble and not flaunting, but इसको reasonable तो नहीं
नहीं,
बोलते.
शायद reasonable नहीं था, because we can come to the. I know you enjoy traveling as well, so we can talk about that in a bit.
That's my poison.
Yeah, and that's my poison as well. So my birthday treat to myself is few days solo traveling somewhere in the world.
Wow.
So my birthday comes in February, and this February I'm trekking.
Is it 14th February?
No, 2nd February.
Okay, चलिए.
But I'm going to trek the Sahara Desert this time.
Wow. How long is the trek?
So it's actually just a 3-day trek.
Okay.
And I'll go into Marrakesh, from London to Marrakesh, and then into the Sahara
Will you
Desert.
be taking that train? एक train भी जाता है उसके बीच
नहीं,
से.
वो
वो
तो नहीं
थोड़ा
पता भी नहीं मुझे उसके बारे में.
हाँ, एक ट्रेन जाता है सहारा डेजर्ट के बीच से.
अच्छा.
उसमें कोई नहीं रहता, बट इट्स एक्सट्रीम टू द अटमोस्ट लेवल. रात को इतनी ठंड कि आप इमेजिन नहीं कर सकते. एंड देयर इज नो बोगी. इट इज ओनली वो मालगाड़ी जैसे बोलते हैं ना, आपको उसके ऊपर क्रॉस करके बस वो कोयले के ऊपर बैठ के आना है. So that's bad, मतलब हाँ, but ठीक है, a lot of people do that.
That would be interesting, but I also like as
थोड़ा
a
सा
solo-
luxury चाहिए, थोड़ा सा comfort
नहीं
चाहिए.
नहीं, बस safety चाहिए.
हाँ.
As a solo female traveler,
Agreed.
safety चाहिए. So anyway, so yeah, so coming to Lucknow. So I travel a lot. I live in probably the biggest city in the world. But I was just saying this to a friend of mine. When the plane lands in Lucknow, Aabir, I just breathe differently.
थोड़ा सा AQI ज्यादा भले ही होगा लड़ने से, थोड़ा नहीं काफी ज्यादा होगा, लेकिन बहुत अच्छा फील होता
चाहे
है.
सांस लेने में दिक्कत हो, लेकिन सुकून की सांस बहुत
कबाब
आती
की
है.
खुशबू एकदम अमौसी एयरपोर्ट में एकदम बह जाती है कि
आ
क्या
गए,
मजा
कबाब
आ गया
लैंड
भाई
में.
साहब.
But
अपने
I feel
शहर में
like-
लैंड होने का एक अलग फील है ना.
Yes, it is completely different. And also, I think my biggest gratitude to that city is that I had a very safe, I was upbringing. I was surrounded with love, and I think that gives you a lot of ammunition to deal with stuff later in life.
True.
So for that, I will always have a lot of gratitude.
Makes
And
sense.
जब मैं जाती हूँ अभी, it's so silly, but मुझे ना प्यार आता है बिल्डिंग्स पे, रोड पे, पेड़ पे.
यही
Like
होता
it's so crazy. मुझे लगता
कितना
है
सुंदर है भाई साहब, कितने प्यारे लोग हैं.
मुझे लगता है हाय वो बिल्डिंग, हाय वो
बचपन में यहीं से
खंबा.
निकलते थे. हाँ, यही होता है. ट्रू.
So it's very weird for me.
वो शायद रिलेटेबिलिटी कभी वहाँ नहीं आ सकती है.
वो नहीं, and this is something that I talk about in this book also, like, and I think it's not just about going from one country to another. If you come from one city to another also,
Agreed.
You feel like एक पौधे को uproot कर दिया है, right? Roots फिर
It's
से
a paradigm
हमें-
shift.
It's a big shift.
And especially if you are going from a small city to a bigger city, the world changes.
The world, and हम इंडिया में बहुत अमेरिकन टीवी देखते हैं, ब्रिटिश टीवी भी कम देखते हैं.
true.
So I remember when I went there for the first time, और जो ट्यूब में announcements होते थे ना, I was like blah 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 blah.
Accent बहुत अलग है.
बहुत अलग
बहुत
accent
ज़्यादा
है.
अलग है.
तो अब जब मुझे एक एक वर्ड समझ में आ रहा होता है,
Good morning, Aabir.
नहीं उसमें बोलेंगे hello Aabir.
So I had a colleague. I was a radio producer. It was an English radio brand, and the jock, the host, she was actually a Brit, but she stayed there, born and raised there, but now came to India because her husband were also working here. They both were settled in London, but they came here, and she was hosting the show. आधे टाइम तो मुझे समझ में नहीं आता था. मतलब although English radio station I used to work there, I know. But I'm like थोड़ा सा धीरे. Cut to 1 मिनट बाद मैंने उसको हिंदी सिखा दिया. So she is like, what the hell, bro?
So the British accent is very different.
Yeah.
अब मेरे बच्चे उसी accent में बोलते हैं. अब मुझे समझ
They are
में
born and raised
They are born and so I have 2 kids. One is 8, one is 4.
Wow.
So yes, so Lucknow is like a little dot on the map, but मेरे लिए बहुत बड़ा है.
बहुत बड़ा है. So true. Let's talk about your first book as well.
Yeah.
मतलब I guess हर author के लिए, हर writer के लिए उसकी first book एकदम सबसे important नहीं, but बहुत important होती है, because that puts you on the map. मतलब for the first time लगता है कि ओ भाई साहब ये क्या कर लिया, मतलब सबने वो बचपन में बोला था किताब लिखेंगे, अब finally I wrote a book.
मैं सोचती थी जब मैं बहुत बुढ़ी हो जाऊंगी तो मैं लिखूंगी, when I'm like in my late 30s.
And how old were you when you wrote your first book?
25.
भाई साहब.
तो अब जब मैं लेट 30s में हूँ, I'm like
नहीं ठीक है.
बुढ़ापा.
नहीं यार, age is just a number.
Age is just a number. Yes.
Yeah.
Anyway, so first book, yeah. So I always thought that I will write. अबीर वो बचपन में जो डायरी लिखते हैं ना, and पता है अभी मैं घर गई थी तो मैं अपनी डायरी पुरानी पढ़ रही थी, which is like top secret, right? But उसमें ऐसे लिखा हुआ, I got 7 on 10 in English, so and so got 7.5. Oh God, why did I
अब
get?
लगता होगा क्या cringe था ये.
Like come on, like get a life.
यही होता है.
So मैं हमेशा से लिखती थी बट कभी लिखने का टाइम नहीं मिला. आई डिड माई इंजीनियरिंग देन MBA करा IFT दिल्ली से एंड आई वाज वेरी वेरी स्टूडियस, बहुत बहुत पढ़ाई करी. फिर जब मैं लंदन गई तो वहाँ पे शादी होके लंदन गई. वहाँ पे कोई तभी लीमन ब्रदर्स क्रैश करा था, सो देयर वाज नो जॉब इन लंदन एंड आई थॉट एवरी मंथ आई ट्राई समथिंग न्यू. फर्स्ट मंथ, सो माई ग्रैंडफादर इज एन आर्टिस्ट, सो आई थॉट कुछ आया होगा. फर्स्ट मंथ आई स्टार्टेड पेंटिंग. इतना बकवास पेंट करा ना, मुझको ही रोना आ गया उसको.
एकदम मजनू भाई की पेंटिंग बना दी.
बहुत ही गंदी पेंटिंग बनाई थी फ्रैंकली स्पीकिंग. तो वो फिर हटाया एंड द सेकंड मंथ आई थॉट चलो लेट मी स्टार्ट राइटिंग अ बुक व्हिच आई ऑलवेज वांटेड टू राइट. तभी शादी हुई थी and the book was about this girl who's 25 who doesn't have a boyfriend. And उसकी मम्मी डिसाइड करती हैं कि बेटी की उम्र हो गई है, इसकी शादी करनी है, तो वो उसका न्यूज़पेपर में ऐड डालती हैं और जो सारे
कैसे ही आपकी शादी हुई थी? ठीक है, नहीं जाते उसमें. हाँ, so this was a guy.
So उसकी मम्मी डालती हैं एंड फिर so basically उसकी मम्मी ने उसके लिए डेट सेटअप कर दिए हैं कि now you find your kiss the frogs and find your prince. So those are the ineligible bachelors that she meets and then she finds the person that she who wins her heart.
Agreed.
So उस किताब को मैं लिखती थी. It was a rom-com. थोड़ा लिखती थी, थोड़ा हंसती थी, हाँ ही करते करते. And then about 7-8 months later जॉब भी लग गई बीच में. But London में work life balance is quite good. So I used to have
6 बजे ऑफ मतलब
6 बजे भी लोग बोलेंगे you work too much, please जाओ घर.
5 बजे सब खत्म.
5 बजे खत्म हो जाता था. And that was a low position job also, तो it was good. तो then book भी खत्म हो गई 8-9 महीने में. So I did what every self-respecting woman of the 21st century does. I typed on Google what to do if you have written full manuscript. They said send to publisher. So I sent to publisher. And I remember मैं लखनऊ में थी. यहाँ से मैंने email करा था, लखनऊ से दिल्ली, दिल्ली से लंदन, plane land किया. And I opened my email and there was a reply saying that here is the contract.
Oh.
So जो लोग कहते हैं ना struggle about the first, वो तो पता ही नहीं चला. वो तो I was like what?
But why do you think ऐसा हुआ? Was it so damn good? या किस्मत क्या?
किस्मत तो आगे आगे चलती है.
ठीक है.
But I think it was just the plot was just very like it was very funny, it was very irreverent, it was a fresh way of looking at it.
And this was with
Rupa.
Oh.
So that went off like एकदम ऐसे fly off हो गया. That book was on the bestseller list for 11 months.
And this is that time जब Rupa was very popular as a publisher.
Yeah,
Chetan
2011
was always there.
हाँ.
Very cool.
So ये हुआ तो वो किताब थी for 11 months on the bestseller list.
Wow.
So मेरा भाई मुझे कहता था, I was like, oh my God, ये कैसे है? तो मेरा भाई मुझे कहता था, किसी से कुछ बोलो नहीं, कंप्यूटर ग्लिच है, पता चल जाएगा, वो हट जाएगी, so just be quiet about it. So ये था, and like I was so new, and I remember किसी ने कहीं तो फोटोग्राफ डाल दी थी मेरे फेसबुक से उठा के. It was like me in an off-shoulder dress looking at Prague. ऐसे, and I was like, off-shoulder dress.
ये कैसे डाल दिया?
ये क्यों डाल दिया?
ये उसमें फोटो में था? नहीं, आर्टिकल में.
आर्टिकल में मेरी फोटो जो थी.
भाई.
So and then पहले तो बहुत अच्छे रिव्यूज, then obviously there'll be some bad reviews also. उनको I remember मैं पढ़ के रोती थी. हाय.
Seriously?
See, like आंसू बहा के. अब तो मुझे अब I'll be like cool. Somebody will like it, somebody won't like it. So yeah, it's been a long journey, not just in the quality of my writing, but also in how I deal with writing as well.
Makes sense.
First book was very easy to write. Second book, it took me 3 years, 2 manuscripts to get the second book out. But first book was very
easy. All are
easy.
primarily fiction, not fiction का.
I think जो आपने point बोला, first book important होती है. So I think for a lot of authors, first book is the most autobiographical book.
Agreed.
तो मेरी भी जो आप पूछ रहे थे ना,
ठीक है.
It was semi-autobiographical, meeting all those silly people.
ठीक है.
But second book onwards, the true author comes out, and then you have to put in your creative
Yeah, what is your suggestion to all those people who really want to explore writing or getting their first book published? Because since you have done that and it has taken like 13-14 years, अब इतनी सारी books आ गई हैं, a lot of people struggle with it. You may not have, but a lot of people. What is your suggestion or your just like a
So my biggest tip,
as a friend, buddy.
Yeah, my biggest tip is कि creative. You would imagine this is a very creative thing to do, but I think the most important thing is discipline. So the most uncreative thing of it, just to sit down, have a story. So for example, this book is a 300-page book. इसके जो notes थे, they were 120 pages.
Oh.
So
जो कि बहुत होता है.
जो कि बहुत होता है, like that's 1/3 of the book.
Yeah.
कि बस notes हैं, right?
Notes हैं.
I had Excel sheets. I had character arcs because I wanted to show. So, as creative as you might think.
इतना कोई लेकिन किसी को पता भी नहीं होता कि character arc क्या है. मतलब ठीक है.
नहीं पता नहीं होता है. But पता होता है.
हाँ मतलब agreed. Subconsciously पता होता है, but ऐसे नहीं पता कि this is called character.
So yes. So this I know now because this is book number 5.
हाँ, true.
बुक नंबर 1 में आप बस कहानी लिखते हो,
true.
बट स्टिल उसमें डिसिप्लिन चाहिए होता है, बिकॉज टू बी एबल टू सिट डाउन एंड एक कहानी को स्टार्ट करना 120,000 वर्ड्स तक एंड करके लाना, just that. And I think so one thing is having the discipline to write, the second thing is having the discipline to read, because कई लोग मुझे ऐसे ही मैसेज करते हैं कि I have never read a single book but I want to write my book. तो
ये कैसे होगा भाई?
मुझे नहीं पता मैं उनको क्या बोलूं.
मैं गाने गा सकता हूँ लेकिन मैंने कभी गाने सुने नहीं है.
पॉसिबल ही नहीं है ना.
पॉसिबल ही नहीं है ना यार, गाने तो सुनना पड़ेगा तभी तो गा सकते हो.
तो बुक पढ़नी पड़ेगी. So you have to read a lot and then you'll be able to start writing better. So those are my 2 tips.
That makes sense. और कैसे अप्रोच करना चाहिए एक पब्लिकेशन को, या कैसे? Is it very difficult now after like 13-14 years?
Yeah, I think it's. So I think a lot of people can get books out there because self-publishing भी है.
हाँ, अब self-publishing भी आ गया. पहले जो कि नहीं था.
So I think अगर आपका but to go via a traditional route where एक respectable publisher like HarperCollins would value your book enough. You will have to put a lot into the book. So this book took me like 5 years to write.
जो कि बहुत होता है यार.
And it's not like कि मैं धीरे लिख रही थी, मैं non-stop लिख रही थी.
For 5 years?
For 5 years, I've written every single day only this book.
बाप रे, बहुत efforts हैं यार.
So this.
मैं तो मुझे imagine भी नहीं कर पा रहा हूँ कि इतने efforts डालता है कैसे कोई, ठीक है?
And that too with a full-time job and 2 small children.
Agreed.
So
that's not like a junior level job. You are a pretty senior person in the company.
Yeah. So.
Respect.
Respect. Okay. Thank you. So yeah, it's a very very complicated procedure to do it. But जे कहते ना जहाँ चाहे वहाँ राय. If you want to do it, you will do it. Simple as that.
That makes sense. क्या नया plan है? अब क्या book आ रही है नई?
So the next book will be about. I'll tell you.
Just give me a brief.
Yeah.
Don't tell me
I'll tell you the name of the book. You'll get a lot of idea from the name of the book.
है.
So it's also a romance, but
Okay.
it's called The Girl and the Ghost.
Oh भाई.
Yes.
The Girl and the Ghost. क्या भूत से प्यार होता है? मतलब थोड़ा बहुत.
The ghost in my head represents something. So I think sometimes you meet somebody for a short period of time, but वो आपको इतना कुछ दे देता है that is enough to last you a lifetime.
Right.
And you know how you talk about people coming from different worlds. जैसे कभी आप किसी से मिलते हो, उसकी दुनिया एकदम फर्क होती है, आपकी दुनिया एकदम फर्क होती है. So I just started thinking about that. कितनी फर्क होगी अगर वो दूसरी दुनिया का ही हो तो.
Oh,
So
like that.
even though it's a ghost, it represents a lot of other things.
Agreed.
That would be relate to our actual real life.
Wow. Sounds interesting. और बताइए जिंदगी में क्या नया ताज़ा है?
So,
What do you enjoy the most apart from traveling?
apart from traveling, so I read a lot.
Okay.
Obviously, like I was telling you, every birthday I take a solo trip. And पता है अभी, in fact, this is interesting. So last year, for example, I went in the Arctic Circle, right? And I wanted to see the Northern Lights, but not see the Northern Lights, but chase the Northern Lights. So we went to Norway में एक जगह है, Oslo से 2 घंटे दूर, called Tromsø.
I've heard about this.
Yeah, वहाँ से Northern Lights बहुत अच्छी दिखती है. So वहाँ से हमने जीप लिया था, and then we sped through, and we went almost to Finland. रात को it begins at 10 o'clock, 11 o'clock, and then you come back at 3 o'clock.
Yeah, tell me about Northern Lights. Like इतना ज़्यादा जो हुआ है, is it worth visiting that?
So it looks very different in real. So जो आपको bright green दिखता है ना, वो dull green दिखता है. So your camera में it looks more magnificent.
Agreed. वो 10 बार edit होगा, 50 चीजें होंगी.
But you know, abhi, just the experience. So on my birthday last year, chasing the Northern Lights, we ultimately ended up in some military zone. Okay, it was the middle of the night. It was covered with snow, so it was well lit because snow light reflect करती है, right? And my guide told me that there was this huge lake, which was frozen, and उसके ऊपर feet of ice था. He said, "Would you like to walk on it?" So middle of the night, the sky was green, and I walked.
It's minus 20 at least.
15.
15.
And minus 15 तो पता है वो कहते हैं उनके पास थर्मल होता है, थर्मल वेयर होता है if you start shivering. तो मैं गई, मैंने बोला अब थर्मल वेयर का टाइम आ गया है क्योंकि you have to stand out for 3-4 hours before the lights actually come. So you are in minus 10-15 degrees Celsius middle of the night shivering waiting for the lights to come.
Wow.
तो कहता है मैडम थर्मल तो
But
आपको
why do you have to wait for the lights? मतलब आने तो हम कार के अंदर है
नहीं बैठता है ना कोई because everybody is so excited. So
अच्छा वैसे.
Yeah, and what they will do is that they'll set up a fire. And then they'll get some homemade soup. And you'll be like 7-8 people from different parts of the world who all want to see the Northern Lights. And आप एक गोला बना के बैठ जाते हो. And then you start talking. And it's so interesting what comes out of those conversations as well. तो फिर मैंने उसको बोला मुझे बहुत ठंडक लग रही है, मुझे थर्मल दे दो. कहते हैं मैडम थर्मल तो आप पहन चुके हो. अब कुछ नहीं मिल सकता आपको,
अब हो गया मैम, इतना ही
आपका।
है। अब आप देख लीजिए, आग वाग के ऊपर बैठना है तो थोड़ी देर बैठ सकते
वो
हैं,
आगे में बैठ जाओ।
हाँ, और कुछ नहीं बचा।
So I remember that moment, Aabir, like as the clock struck 12, the sky was green and I was walking on that and I was like,
ये है भगवान, थैंक गॉड।
thank you universe for this moment.
True, makes sense.
And then on the day of my birthday, I kayaked in the North Sea
Wow.
and पूरा ice की layer थी and as the kayak moved, it
उतना break.
and there were otters swimming with me. So
Hey, they are so cute.
they're very cute and they're very curious. Like
Yeah.
लोग क्या कर रहे हैं यहाँ पे? So I just try and do a little bit of something that's it takes so much of me to be a mother, a working professional, a wife, a daughter. I have 20 emails to respond to right now. I have 5 people waiting on me. I've got so those 3-4 days every year when I'm not traveling with anybody, just me.
इस बार क्या प्लान है?
इस बार I'm going to Morocco.
Wow.
And
Get some Moroccan tiles for you.
Moroccan tiles. And we'll be trekking the Sahara desert and spending some 3 days in the desert and we'll see what adventures happen there. Uske alawa, I love exercising.
Wow.
I love swimming.
Wow.
I love to bake. And you know, I also love to do embroidery.
Like the knitting
नहीं, knitting नहीं, वो फर्क होता है. Embroidery से फूल पत्ती बनाते हैं.
हाँ, wow.
So,
But did you get time? Like, do you get time?
when you want to do things, time मिल जाता है.
Agreed यार, सही बात है, time
बच्चों को देख रहे हो, एम्ब्रॉयडरी करते जा रहे हो, कोई पॉडकास्ट सुन रहे हो, लाइक एम्ब्रॉयडरी करते जा रहे हो.
Thank you.
I like to do.
Next time you are doing embroidery, just listen to my podcast.
Okay.
ठीक है, done.
जो भी एम्ब्रॉयडरी कर रहा है. In case anybody has any questions about embroidery,
Yeah.
they can come to me.
Agreed.
I'll teach them rose
This
stitch.
is called cross promotion.
Yeah.
That's how everybody should chase this. Yeah.
So ये है. Your question was life में और क्या चल रहा है? I've recently started a new job.
Okay.
So a new job, book launch,
2 बच्चे,
2 बच्चे,
plus घूमना.
plus बहुत सारी चीजें और करना.
सही
And also, I think what's very important for me is the mind shift. You know, like I see a lot of people saying, "Oh no, मुझे exercise करनी है, या करनी पड़ेगी, या मुझे dieting करनी पड़ेगी." So I think sometimes if you can do a little bit of a mind shift, कि I get to exercise,
Agreed.
or I get to work so hard, or I get to do this. So I just try and keep that. But otherwise, I'm perpetually exhausted also.
ये आलस को कैसे दूर करते हैं, ये आप बस मुझे बता दो, बाकी सब हो
बिस्तर
चुका
से
है।
निकलते कैसे हैं?
हाँ, मतलब ये जो एक विशियस साइकिल ऑफ आलस, पड़े रहना, जो भी आप इसको बोल सकते हो, इससे कैसे निकलते हैं?
So Aabir, I think you're asking that question, but I think you're very hardworking because you answered.
यार बॉडी के हाल देख के मुझे लग नहीं रहा, मतलब काम वाम में तो हो जाएगा, फिटनेस पे कैसे आते हैं भगवान जाने। न्यू ईयर का रेजोल्यूशन तो 2 दिन
Do you have a New Year resolution? जो आप बता सकते हैं।
आज कितनी तारीख है? 8?
7।
नो, 8 आज तक ही टूट
टूट
चुका है
चुका
टेंशन।
है।
अरे भाई साहब, इसमें तो जाते ही नहीं है कि न्यू ईयर रेजोल्यूशन है क्या। लेट्स सी, I need to change my things, I feel. On that note, बहुत बहुत शुक्रिया. It was wonderful talking to you because fiction है, so I won't dig deep into the story because नहीं तो all those readers who are waiting for the book, they won't be able to dig deep into the story on their own. But it's a wonderful book. I really loved the cover.
Yeah,
I really loved the
as
cover.
well.
And who designed the cover?
Harper.
Harper, okay.
Yeah, they were fantastic with the whole process.
So, Ruchita Misra, very, very, very thank you for talking to us and taking your time.
Thank you,
And may God and the universe flourish you with a lot and lot of books and
thank
writings.
you.
बहुत बहुत शुक्रिया.
And before I just sign off, can I also say thank you, Aabir, because not obviously people don't know, but we are doing this on a Sunday.
Yeah, which is fine.
It's not fine. Aabir doesn't work on a Sunday.
अरे मतलब it is not like I don't work on a Sunday. It's
Doesn't
like, हाँ,
do,
ठीक है.
yeah.
हाँ, ठीक है.
And he did that because my kid was unwell.
No problem.
So I am. Thank you so much. It's when people like you help working mums like us that we're able to do these things.
Everybody
So,
should do
thank
that,
you.
I feel. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much.
That's it. Done.
Yay!